Here's the Dirt is brought to you by Asgrow DeKalb.
Well, the new year started off icy and snowy. How did your landscape hold up? Maybe a few tree branches landed in your yard? Here to help us protect our trees is the U of I Extension horticultural educator, Ryan Pancod, representing the Illini today.
Yes, I am. Go Illini.
That's right. We're big fans here. Now, let's talk a little bit. I don't know if you were familiar, but Judy Fraser, when she was here, predicted that the woolly worms predicted that we would have a snowbrella, so a little wet, snowy winter. I think that's been pretty accurate, don't you think?
I think so. I think so far it's held up to be a wet and kind of snowy winter. And so, yeah, that recent snowstorm we had actually did damage some trees. So that's what we're going to talk about today is what you can do, how trees are affected, and some of those things.
Okay, before we get into that, let's talk about how common ice storms actually are here in central Illinois.
Sure. On average, our part of the state actually gets about 5 days of accumulating ice a year. And that doesn't always mean it's truly an ice storm, which is marked by about a quarter inch or so of accumulation. I'd say the last little bit of accumulating ice we got was maybe about 1/10 of an inch on things. But yeah, we actually get it a little more common than the southern part or the northern part of the state, interestingly.
And I'm going to guess that ice does a little bit more damage than just a normal snowstorm.
Yes, that accumulating ice sticks to all the limbs. It builds up. And, this only happens when those weather conditions are just perfect, like the picture you're seeing, where it can really stick to those limbs. And when you have plants, especially that are evergreens, like a lot of our pine trees, spruce trees, firs, they have a lot of surface area and they're able to really accumulate a lot of that ice, and it can cause a lot of problems in tree canopies.
Well, let's talk about the problems that they may experience because of the ice.
Yeah, sure. So, it's pretty obvious. Like a lot of the signs are broken limbs that break out from the weight of the ice. But there's also a lot of other damage that happens, cracking and other things. And as an arborist, we see a lot of that like down the road, like 10 years from now, we'll see limbs fail. And I can usually count back and look at a lot of these major storm events, and that can attribute to a lot of those later branch failures from the damage they incur now from one of those ice storms. So there's kind of two different types of damage.
So the internal cracks that you're talking about, is that something that we could see as a homeowner, not an arborist, or is that something you need to be trained to kind of spot?
That's something you need to be trained to spot, and certainly, and it's something that's actually really hard to see. There's a lot of times that we don't really see that until the branch comes down, and usually when I'm assessing a damaged limb or storm damage, I usually want to try and find the cause and inspect the rest of the tree for those type of issues. So a lot of times those internal cracks, that's the only time we ever see it is when that branch fails down the road, whether that's next year or 5 or 10 years from now.
And when a limb does break or snap, how important is it to prune it or get rid of it immediately? Can it just wait until spring or when things warm up a little bit when you feel like dealing with it?
Well, yeah, it is really important to get those damaged areas pruned out. We're not always going to be able to find those cracked areas, but any of those broken limbs need to come out, because any spot where that tree has a crack or a tear in the bark, that's a place where rot can enter the plant, where rot and decay-causing pathogens can enter and start to, cause damage to the trunk and make that tree unsound someday. So we saw earlier a broken branch stub there that then was pruned off in the second picture. I think that's the type of damage that folks overlook often, because the limb's already fallen to the ground and you still have that stub right there, where a lot of us would think, oh, that's pretty safe, but it really needs to be pruned off like you see in that picture, because right around that area of the tree trunk, where every branch is attached, there's an area called the branch collar. And that branch collar area is stimulated to start to grow then. After we make that proper cut, there's a picture of that callus tissue starting to form on a sugar maple.
Huh, and interesting.
If you looked at pruning cuts, you can see that tissue just gets larger and larger over time. And we say trees don't heal, they seal. Eventually that tree will seal over that wound if you make a proper cut right at the branch collar. But if you don't, if you leave that stub, what's going to have to happen is that branch collar tissue is going to have to slowly try and grow around that rotting branch stub that's right there. And over time, that introduces a lot of rot into the trunk and can ultimately cause that tree many years from now to fail or to completely fall over. So I see that a lot where folks have cleaned up all the limbs in the ground, but there's still stubs up there that need to be removed to limit that rot and decay spread.
And that's why we call you the professionals, the arborists, to come help us out. Okay, you've got tips also for what we can do to protect our trees from an ice storm. We're out of time, but we'll put those on CILiving.tv. Sound good?
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, ILL, and we will share all of Ryan's tips on how to keep your trees safe during the winter months at CILiving.tv.